Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to Pop Culture Podcast, episode 60. I'm Jay.
I'm Adrian, and we are back for another week of comic books, movies, beer, and TV, but mostly beer. So this week we are drinking Three Magnets Brewing Company.
I'm really curious to see how this is.
Yeah, so Jay and I went and stopped by, got some sushi, and we decided to stop by Whole Foods for some beer. Because as much as I don't like that place for anything besides their meat counter, they do have a good selection of 22s refrigerated.
Yes.
So this is Three Magnets Brewing Company's Big Truck Stout, a collaboration with Olympia Coffee and Roasting Company. So everything in here is brewed and made in Olympia, Washington, which is our state capital.
Oh, yeah. I'm kidding. I knew that. I just know that it's funny. Most people don't know their own state capital.
Yeah, so we're going to... Olympia Coffee Roasting Service is an ongoing partnership to craft this most delicious coffee brewers in the world. We started the series with perfectly brewed Big Truck Organic Espresso and Brimley Stout. We dreamed of the best stout you've ever had combined with the best coffee you've ever tasted. That is a bold claim to make, Three Magnets Brewing Company. Bold claim to make.
Especially from a brewing company I've never even heard of.
But it's going to be the best you've ever had, apparently. So, I'm going to pour myself one first, because last time you got all head on yours. So, I'm going to try to change it up for you.
It pours nice and dark.
It is super dark, and for this, I'm happy.
I'm sure this is really entertaining for the people listening in audio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can you guys hear that nice pour? Listen. Oh, that sounds beautiful, guys. It smells really fucking good, though. All right. Now that you've heard the amazing pour that it was, let's give it a shot.
I wouldn't say it's the best I've ever had.
It's not the worst we've ever had.
I would say it's actually quite enjoyable, though.
No, I enjoy it. I like it, especially for the price point it was at. It was really reasonably priced. All right. Three Magnets, you did good. You did really good.
I think the label bothers me, though.
Oh, the label is super hipster.
And I'm not even
generic.
I'm not even talking about like the design of the label, but the fact that it just looks like recycled paper. Like they went with that recycled paper color.
So for those of you who can't see, and if you are watching, you may still not be able to see it. It's the usual beer bottle, that brown beer bottle with a recycled brown bag paper looking label.
Yeah.
The only color on it are two stripes of green and a stripe of red. And the rest is just boring black and brown paper. With that said, it's tasty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll count that as a success for this week.
Okay.
Talking about some more successes, what have you been watching? You know what? Maybe they weren't successes.
Well, I mean, that's always a possibility.
I don't want to front load this here. What do you got for me?
Do you want to start with TV or movies?
Start with TV.
Okay. Those were mostly successes. So for TV this week, I watched last week's episode of Arrow, because this week's isn't on quite yet. Flash. I watched last week's episode of Flash.
Have you watched this week's episode of Flash?
I did not watch this week's yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I have found a new way for it to be up same day for viewing.
Plex?
Yes.
I didn't realize Plex also did Flash same day.
Actually, I don't know that they do.
Okay.
I haven't checked yet. But so I'll probably watch that tonight or tomorrow. I did watch this week's episode of Supergirl.
Okay.
Which I knew the plot of it as soon as I saw the title of the episode.
Bizarro? Or was
that was last week.
Okay.
So this week was For the Girl Who Has Everything. Do you catch that reference?
No, but you're going to tell me I'm going to smack my head.
So there was a issue of Superman from 1985 where he gets attacked by what do they call it? Black Death, I think the weird giant plant sucking thing that it feeds on his subconscious and puts him in a state where he's essentially in like a paradise.
Right, a mental dream state.
Yeah,
I remember these now.
Yeah, so that was there was a Superman issue in 1985, and then there was actually an episode of Justice League Unlimited.
Yep,
with the same title, same plot. So as soon as I saw the title of this episode, I'm like, oh, I know what this is, and sure enough, that's what it was.
There you go. How was it?
It was actually really good. There was a scene in it which obviously played the comedic factor, where John Jones took the form of Kara to make her be at work.
So does she know that he's now the Martian Manhunter?
Yeah, so that's out. The DEO all knows about it, and then she knows about it. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, I'm still really enjoying Supergirl. I know it's gone through a little bit of a ratings decline.
Yeah.
But I'm still enjoying it.
Hoping the Flash brings that rating around.
I'm thinking it will. Apparently in last night's episode of Flash, which I have not watched yet, he does go through a time tube.
Oh, I can explain it. I actually watched it.
Oh, you have seen it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So last night's episode of The Flash, he goes to Earth 2.
Right.
So for those of you who aren't watching, quick backstory. At the end of season 1, he went back in time to try to stop Reverse Flash from killing his mom, which is where we get Flashpoint from in the comic book. He decides it wasn't the right thing to do. As he comes back, he creates these portals to all the other 52 universes that we have. In doing so, he exposes Earth 1 to Zoom, who is the main villain for season 2. So they decide to close all the portals but the one to go back to Earth 2, where Zoom is. And he takes Harrison Well and Cisco, who's known as Vibe, from Vibe. You know, the lamest of all the DCNU characters, that Vibe.
Yeah.
And he grabs him, he goes through the portal into Earth 2. And in doing so, the first thing you see is the Green Arrow from Dark Knight Returns, because he's been confirmed in an upcoming episode of Legends of Tomorrow. You'll see that Oliver Queen.
I don't even remember him from Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, he's the one who shot the kryptonite arrow into Superman so that Batman could beat him up.
We're talking the book.
We're talking the book.
Sorry,
yes.
I'm thinking movie.
No. We're talking the book.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then you see John Wesley Shipp as the original Flash.
Oh, nice.
Which is dope. And then you see Supergirl. And then you saw Jonah Hex.
Okay.
And what was the last thing you saw? Legion of Superheroes Flight Ring.
Okay.
So you see those things passing by as he's going through to Earth 2.
Okay, so this now establishes that the Supergirl show is an alternate Earth in the Flash Arrow universe?
Correct.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, cool. So then I watched a little bit more of Lilyhammer.
Okay.
Really excited for that to be over. I only have 3 more episodes. Like, season 1 was really good, and it's just gone so far downhill since then.
So now you're just seeing it through because you have to complete it at this point.
Yeah, I got to finish it so I can take it off my spreadsheet.
That's fair.
Yeah. And then I watched the first episode of Happy Endings.
Oh, I'm on the last 4 episodes of that show.
Okay, so I'd seen 1 episode of this. I think it's when I was in Chile, like in 2013.
Please say it properly.
Chile.
Thank you. This guy.
Yeah. And I thought it was really funny. And I never got around to watching it. And now I'm on Hulu, and it's on Hulu.
Yes, it is.
So I have it added, and I watched the first episode, and it's hilarious.
So season 1 is okay. Season 2 is amazing.
Okay.
I loved season 2.
Nice.
For those of you who aren't familiar with the show, essentially the premise is it's about 6 friends. One of them's a married couple.
Yes.
One of them is just a single woman trying to find love and her gay best friend. And then the last one is about a man and a woman who were engaged and got left at the altar.
Yeah. The very beginning of the pilot episode is her leaving him at the altar.
But her sister is married to his best friend, so they're still in each other's lives. So it's a very will they, won't they, Ross Rachel kind of thing, where they're obviously going to at the end.
Well, yeah.
So it's all about their lives in New York, and they are just... The show came out before New Girl, right around.
Right around that time,
Right.
within a year.
And if you watch it, you're very much like, I've seen all this humor in all these shows that came afterwards, but you don't realize it came afterwards.
Right.
It's kind of the same. Follow me on this tangent. It's gonna come back around. Don't worry. It's John Carter of Mars. Why'd you make that face?
I'm just saying I haven't seen it. I don't know.
So John Carter of Mars, when that movie came out, everyone was like, this is just like all the other sci-fi movies we have out. This is useless. What most people don't realize is John Carter of Mars, the book, was actually the catalyst for all the other sci-fi we have.
Sure.
It was really the original one. Everyone else kind of took pages out of their book.
Yeah.
But they made the movie so late that it seemed like it was the late comer. Happy Ending is very similar in that aspect, that it came out before some of the other shows that have either the actors or that kind of humor, but Happy Endings was actually what pioneered it.
Okay.
Overall, though, I love that show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think my original plan was to finish Lilyhammer and then finish the other 2 shows that are on my Netflix queue, but I think I might jump to Happy Endings and then come back.
Okay. I say it's a fair decision.
Yeah. So that's it for me for TV.
Okay. As you all know, I've been watching The Flash. I just talked about that. Another show I'm still on the fence about, but much more leaning towards a fan of, is Raising Hope.
Okay.
Have you ever seen this show?
No.
Do you know what it's about?
No.
I knew what it was about when I saw it on Netflix.
Okay.
It's a white trash family whose son had a one-night stand and he ended up with the baby.
Sure.
So they're now raising this child.
Okay.
I always knew what it was about. I never really cared to watch it, though, because it just seemed lame. Like, really, honestly, it just seemed lame. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's like, oh, yeah, he was laughing about something. I go, what are you laughing about? He goes, I was thinking about this episode of Raising Hope I saw. It just happened to be on TV. I'm like, what happened? Well, the wife and the husband, they were all confessing secrets. And her secret was that when they were younger, they made a sex tape.
Oh.
And she accidentally returned it to the video store instead of Fast and the Furious.
Oh, no.
So then the guy starts laughing instead of being angry at her. And she goes, what? He goes, some guy's going to want to see Vin Diesel and instead it's going to see me naked. He's all like, it looks like a little Vin Diesel.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, okay, that's funny enough. And then Office is done, so I need something that's background noise. So I started Raising Hope.
Okay.
So the premise is exactly what I said. This man and woman got knocked up when she was 17, and they had their son, Jimmy.
Okay.
They're white trash, but they really love each other, and they're trying to make ends meet. She's a house cleaner. He's a pool cleaner. And those employments don't make them white trash. It's their actions and how they act. It's very much supposed to be that stereotype.
Yeah.
And then the Cloris Leachman.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Plays the crazy grandmother who's no longer there. She's just crazy.
Okay.
So they have the kid Jimmy. Jimmy ends up having a one-night stand with this girl. And turns out she's a serial killer.
Oh, no.
So she goes to prison and she gives birth while in prison. And then they're like, well, they're not going to kill her. She's a mom now. She gets the electric chair.
Oh,
so he gets the baby. And you're just like, huh. All right, that's a thing then, huh?
I'm guessing this was originally on Fox.
I'm pretty sure it was originally on Fox.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see that working on any other channel.
I feel like it's right after Malcolm in the Middle. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's prime. So, the first season, I just finished episode 21 before you came over.
Okay.
The first third of the season was kind of missed for me. And they really found their footing, where this last 2/3 of season 1, I've been loving it.
Okay.
So, I would actually recommend you watch Raising Hope.
Fantastic.
All the other shows I've been watching. Oh, actually, there's one other show I wanted to write. I just realized I don't have my notebook with me. The Muppets. Look at that face you made.
I just remember you saying that it was not a good show.
It was not a good show, no.
Is it now more of a tolerable show?
I don't know what they did, but coming back from the mid-season break, both episodes since then have been fantastic.
Okay.
Like, really enjoyable. The first one had Key and Peele in it as guests.
Oh, jeez. Maybe they should just write the show.
I feel like they
or
should.
maybe they are. Maybe that's what. Maybe
That
that's
may
what it
be
was.
why.
They just walked in the writer's room like, yo, we're on the show. Just give me a pen.
That's right. Look, I don't know what you guys are failing at. You just got to throw in some A.A. Rogers in there, some Sean Jackson, some DeForest Finch, and you'll be fine. So Key and Peele's in an episode, and the show is just getting better, progressively better after the break. So I'm really happy about that.
Okay, good.
I don't have much other TV to watch. You all know what I've been watching, and it's all been fine. I did acquire via a torrent, possibly, maybe,
Probably.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The O.J. Simpson.
Okay,
Because
so
I've been dying to watch it.
so I've been wanting to watch it because I kept seeing all these commercials about it. And I know the second episode's on tonight.
Third,
Or-
I think. 'Cause I got the first two already.
Okay, then I guess maybe it is third. Anyways, how is it?
I haven't watched it.
Oh, you haven't watched
And
it.
when you leave here, that's what I'm going to
Okay.
watch. Unless you want to hang out and watch it. That's fine, too.
No, I'm good.
Oh,
Oh,
I see how it is.
yeah.
We had a nice date. We had sushi. I bought you beer, and now you don't even want to stay and watch a little TV.
I have a wife to get home to. Mine's in this state.
Huh. Well, that's fair. We'll have our lover spat off the air. Go
Okay.
ahead, continue. What were you gonna say?
But no, I heard it actually does a really good job of portraying the things that we all know about. It's the behind the scenes things that weren't aired. Like they go into depth about how so the Simpsons and the Kardashians,
Mhm.
and I mean Robert and Chris, not the kids, were really good friends.
Yes.
So it talks about how 2 weeks before the murder, they all took a trip to Cancun or something like that, somewhere in Mexico. And it was like a last-ditch effort to try to repair things between OJ and Nicole.
Interesting.
But those are things like we don't necessarily know. Like that wasn't televised, and
So I'm actually taking this show with a grain of salt.
of course
I don't know how much of it is going to... Obviously, it's a dramatic show. The producers are the same guys who do American Horror Story and
Right.
Scream Queens. So when I learned that, obviously, it's not going to be 100% factual.
Right.
There's going to be some dramatization.
Yep.
I'm afraid that some people are going to start being like, well, I saw this on the show, therefore it's real. Fucker, it's not. It's a drama.
Everybody that watched How to Make a Murder or Making a Murder or whatever is now looking at this and be like, no, that glove really didn't fit.
Yeah, except for the fact that if you read articles about How to Make a Murder, the editing that they did
Yeah.
and the
Yeah,
interviews
yeah,
they
yeah.
left off, and there's no neutral TV that's made. It all has an agenda to be told.
Except Fox News, right?
Well, no, Fox News is the unbiased opinion you can trust.
Absolutely.
Them and BBC.
And Al Jazeera, is that still a thing?
I don't trust them.
Oh,
That's like trusting HuffPo.
should I not?
You should not trust HuffPo.
Oh,
Oh my god.
so Reddit is the go-to source.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
Like no one would rely on a forum. That'd be silly. I feel like Reddit is just our current generation's version of Hustler's letters. Like, those things were never true.
Well, I mean, that's I guess because I do only read Reddit for the articles.
Bingo. It's funny you say that. You laugh. That's something I actually want to bring up
Okay.
today. Friday will be the release of the first non-nude Playboy.
Yes.
Are you going to read it? Or are you going to buy it?
No,
Why not?
because I don't buy it anyways. I didn't buy it when there was nude people in there.
Right?
That's what the internet's for. I don't.
Well, that's why there are
And-
no nudes anymore.
And to be fair, I mean, I've seen the covers of the issue on the internet already. So, done.
I'm absolutely going to buy it.
Are you really?
Absolutely. Here's why. I love magazines. I go to Esquire's webpage daily. I have subscriptions to Esquire, GQ, and Details. I'm probably going to drop Details because it's produced by the same company that makes GQ. Half the time it's some of the same articles.
Yeah. No, I noticed that.
Which really bothers
Yeah.
me. But I got it $4 or $5 for the year.
Right.
Whatever. But with Playboy now going non-nude, they apparently actually do want to now focus on their articles.
The thing they've been saying for 60 years.
It's finally going to be a thing. So they're
Okay.
going to have more fashion, more of those like, economics. They're going to have more actual substance to it than just the centerfolds.
This week we focus on how to pay for your YouPorn subscription.
You don't pay for YouPorn. You go to Pornhub where it's free.
I mean, there's paid memberships on both of those, though.
I did not know that.
I don't know.
That shows you how much I know.
I mean, you have a mission. That's all. Yeah. Anyways,
Just has so many jokes, and the show's going to keep the. All right, no.
Okay.
Anyways,
okay.
So the question I have is, I know I'm going to get it.
Yes.
At least the inaugural issue.
Sure.
I know I still can't read that in public.
Oh no.
Do you think there are going to be people who are like sitting on the bus or in the Barnes & Noble just reading the Playboy because now it's non-nude?
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't that weird, though?
Yes. I also wonder how long it's going to last.
I think it's going to last quite some time.
I say the novelty wears off after 5, maybe 6 months. The sales decline, and they're like, we need tits to get this to sell again.
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
Okay.
Because let's look at Maxim, right? Maxim has consistently gone down in readership, even though they do provide the tits and everything else. But their articles are all shit.
Well, yes.
So given the fact that we can list hundreds of porn sites on the internet where you can see anything you want for free, you are actually then going to either Playboy or GQ or Esquire for actual articles now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think if they address it right and they actually do put in thought-provoking articles or interesting things or information people want, I actually think it can thrive. And given it a couple of years, we'll be able to start changing things around.
Okay.
If anything, if that starts becoming a success that way, I think you'll see less centerfolds in it, clothed or otherwise.
Okay.
That's
We'll see how it goes. I mean, it's an experiment in publishing, so.
we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
What have you watched as far as movies are concerned?
I watched those movies.
Okay, me too.
It's funny because the first one of these you actually told me on last week's show would be a horrible disappointment.
Oh, Away We Go.
I watched Away We Go.
I'm sorry, buddy.
And I texted you while I was watching this. I sent you a message, and I'm like, I'm 20 minutes into Away We Go, and I just really want it to go away. This was not a good movie.
It was not.
And I think one of the more difficult parts for me to watch is I don't like Maya Rudolph.
Okay.
I don't think she's funny. I don't think she's entertaining.
Okay.
That's me. I'm not saying she's not. I'm saying her brand of comedy
Doesn't hit you right.
not for me.
I quite enjoy Maya Rudolph. Not the things that she writes, but when people write things for her, like, I want this type of character in a movie, and then she plays that character.
Okay.
I think she has a great delivery and great, sort of I'm looking for, like facial, the features and everything else to deliver certain lines. I don't like the stuff she comes up with.
Okay. I watched SNL when she was on it, like during her like major years on it.
Okay.
I always hated when a skit came on and she was in it. So I'm like, I'm not gonna enjoy this. Okay. But besides that, I mean, really, I think you could have had almost any actress in this role in this movie, and I still wouldn't have liked it.
That's right.
And I was really trying to figure out why I added this to my Netflix queue.
Because Jim from The Office.
But as I told you, if I'm adding movies because of a person that's in it, it's never because of the actor that's in it. I will add movies because there's actresses that I want to see in a movie. So I watched through the whole movie expecting some actress that I wanted to see pop up, and no, not at all. So I don't know why this was there. I really wish it wasn't, but it was. So I recommend all of you to not watch Away We Go, and if you have seen it, I sympathize.
Honestly, you watch the movie, and it seems like the whole time their whole point in making this movie was to make an indie darling movie.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't actually have anything more to it except for, what do other indie movies do? Well, let's just do that and hope this turns out well for us. And it doesn't. It really doesn't.
I also knew how the movie was going to end like 2/5 of the way through. As soon as she met up with her sister and they mentioned, well, we still have the house.
Right.
I'm like, oh, well, that's where they're gonna live at the end, is in the fucking house that they already own.
Pretty much.
So,
What was the other one you watched? Was it any better? Uh-oh.
maybe.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it's hard. It's like, what's the worst way to die? Is essentially what I'm. So the other movie I watched is This Is 40.
Okay. Leslie Mann,
And Paul
Paul
Rudd.
Rudd.
And I think they should have put the entire name of the movie on this instead of just shortening it, because I think this is 40 minutes longer than anybody should have to sit in this movie.
Oh, look at you with the clever puns. I told you guys last week. Jay's clever.
Yeah. I was ready for this movie to end like 8 different times.
But there's that funny scene where they don't want to have sex. And she walks in and he's in the bathroom, or she's in the bathroom. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. So I thought these characters were somewhat relatable. Not relatable. I don't even know. They were decent characters when I saw them in the first movie, which was Knocked Up.
Right.
Which I don't think that movie holds up. I thought it was funny in the day. It probably wouldn't hold up now. But I didn't need to have an entire 2-hour movie made about them, if this was what you were going to give me.
So here's what I can tell you about This Is 40. I remember watching it. I remember thinking it was fine. And that is the only thing I remember about that movie. Like, I have no other lasting memories.
Yeah.
Which actually tells you how good of a movie it is if that's all I remember.
Right. Also, I feel like I feel like the musician that was in it that he kept trying to make big was probably a musician that was decent back in the day. I don't remember who it was.
But no, I do remember the musician. I remember liking the musician.
Yeah, I mean, it was all right, but I'm like, I almost feel like this movie was written to push this guy's music more than it was to actually develop the characters.
No, I remember now when I watched the movie, we were thinking, that's a musician I actually like. And now it's going to bother me. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sorry you got stuck with 2 shitty movies, yo.
Yeah, it's all right. I got more coming.
Yeah.
Not too many.
Yeah, like 7 more, right?
I think it's like 4 more movies and then like a TV series.
Good for you.
Right? I'm excited.
Good for you. I also watch Dose movies, as you said.
Okay.
The first one I watched was Hail Caesar, the
Ooh.
Coen brothers' new movie. Ugh, is right. I'm not a fan of the Coen brothers. I'm not also opposed to them. They're hit and miss for me.
Yeah.
This was a miss, and not in the ways I was expecting it to.
Okay.
So I will say there were some great things about this movie. The cinematography was beautiful.
Sure.
The acting was perfect.
They
Like,
just didn't have anything to add.
There was the script itself was just crap.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't funny. The parts that should have been funny
Just fell flat.
just fell flat for me. It wasn't clever. Like, I know the Coen brothers are usually clever. Whether they try to be overly clever or not can be debated. But they're at least usually clever. This was not clever for me in any aspect. You saw everything coming as it was coming. All the characters were actually shitty people. And I liked the Brolin character, but I could still recognize he was a shitty person.
Yeah.
I still liked him well enough,
well,
though.
sure.
Because, I don't know, I am also a shitty person.
Yeah.
And I like me well enough. Overall, like, the sets were cool. It was very reminiscent of Hollywood back in that day. Like, they did, like, you know, the swimming movies or the mermaid and the sailors or the dance tapping routine and everything else. Like, it very much fit Hollywood in the day, but the story and the script itself felt really flat for me.
Okay.
The other movie I saw is one I got from Netflix, and that was Sleeping with Other People. And that
I
is
feel like I've seen that.
Jason Sudeikis and why is her name slipping me all of a sudden? Oh my god. She's in Mad Men. Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed right now. Brie?
Brie Larson?
No. That's
Alison Brie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Alison Brie.
Woo!
Will,
yeah,
Will, I know you're probably listening. I'm just as embarrassed as you are for me forgetting her name. Especially when you see her in lingerie a shit ton in this movie.
That's true. Yeah.
And I will tell you now, Jessica, cover your ears. Good gods.
You know, I feel like I actually talked about this movie on the podcast when I watched it.
I believe you did.
Yeah.
And I now watched it myself. I love Jason Sudeikis. I really do. And I love her. And the movie itself was a pretty good movie. Like, it definitely had the indie feeling to it.
Right.
Where the intentional, like, indie awkwardness to be awkward. The one thing I will say about it, I would actually recommend it to most people.
Yeah.
If you're okay with vulgar language. The premise is they met each other in college. And she was in the dorm because she wanted to lose her virginity to the guy who lived a couple doors down.
Yep.
They ended up losing their virginity to each other. 10 years later, they bump into each other. They turn out to be serial daters. They can't have monogamous relationships. And they become best friends. As best friends, it's very obvious that they love each other. And then the movie ends with them realizing together is not a good idea, and her getting accepted into the medical program in Michigan and leaving.
Yep.
That is where the movie, for me, ended. That when she drove away, that felt like a natural end to the movie.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't. There was an extra 10 minutes tacked on.
Yeah.
And I really do feel like that extra 10 minutes is because IFC videos saw it and was like, no, they need to end up together. Add another thing in there. And the last 10, 15 minutes of the movie felt so forced and just thrown in without really thinking about it, where, oh, they finally run off and they do get married and they elope and everything's great. And I'm like, I liked it better the other way.
Yeah.
For who these people were, her leaving was the best thing. Because when they came to terms with that they loved each other, he was dating somebody else. She just got done with a really bad date. She came to him to console her, and they were both laying in bed. And she goes, I love you. And he goes, I love you too. And she goes, what are we going to do? And he says, nothing. And then they both fall asleep, not holding each other or anything. They just fall asleep, which to me was what their relationship kind of was, that they loved each other, but knew that just wasn't for them. They were too chaotic together. And yeah, that's not how it ended. So with that aside, sleeping with other people, if you don't mind the vulgar language, a couple inappropriate scenes, totally go watch it. Get it on Netflix. It's worth the watch, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That is it for me in movies. I know this weekend is Deadpool.
It is.
I am going. Do you have any intention of going opening weekend? It's a very romantic Valentine's Day plan, buddy. Very romantic.
Oh, yeah. When are you going?
Saturday
Morning?
night.
Ooh.
I know. Oh, I know.
What kind of masochist are you?
We have friends who are coming in from out of town.
friends?
I know. You're not the only one.
Weird.
I know. They're out of town. They're from Canada. You don't know them. They're actually from Spokane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they're coming into town.
Nice.
They're going to have the baby with them. So Saturday night's kind of the only time we can go.
Okay, yeah.
So Saturday night it is.
Hopefully you don't get too many broken bones fighting that crowd. Like, okay, here's the thing. I do want to see this movie.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that pisses me off.
People?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody I know wants to see this movie.
Yeah.
People that are like, I don't want to see Batman. I don't want to see Superman. I want to see Deadpool, though. I'm like, fuck you.
So, a little Deadpool news for you. Ryan Reynolds was interviewed by Variety magazine because they've already greenlit and are starting the second one.
Right.
And in his interview, he explains how Deadpool is pansexual
Yeah.
and how he would really like it if in the second movie, Deadpool had a boyfriend.
Okay, the way I heard it wasn't that he would really like it, but that he wouldn't be opposed to it.
I read
And I haven't read it.
I read what he had said. And he said it was very fitting for the character if he had a boyfriend and it could and here's the thing I don't get. How about instead Deadpool just does what he does? He shows up, makes jokes, and kills a bunch of fuckers.
Yeah.
Why does this sexuality have to be involved at all? Like, is it going to get to the point where in 5 years, I'm going to be like, man, this movie was really, really racy. They had a heterosexual couple in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Whoa.
it was a man who loved a woman. Like, fuck, can you believe that?
One of the funny things that I have seen that has come out of an interview with Ryan Reynolds and actually TJ Miller. So I don't know if you heard, they're asking now, like, if you could cast the perfect person to play Cable in an X-Force movie, who would you want? And Rob Liefeld said John Hamm.
Yeah. No, not a good casting call.
Did you hear who Ryan Reynolds and T.J. Miller want?
No.
Barbara Walters. Because why not?
She'd probably be just as good as John Hamm.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I'm like, Brolin?
You can't take Brolin, though, because he's Thanos.
I know, but he would still be a good...
I always thought he would be a good Shazam.
Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Shazam?
Yeah. He's kind of got that jawline.
Yeah, I guess he does. He's a little too old, I think.
Yeah, well, now. Yeah.
Sure.
But, anyways.
You know who'd be a great Shazam is Brandon Roth. Anyway, so...
Okay, so should we move on to comics now? Do you got anything else to talk about before we go to comics?
No. Go ahead.
Okay.
What do you got this week?
This week I read Adventure Supergirl #2,
Mm-hmm.
Batman 49, and I finished Worst X-Men Ever with issue 5.
All right. For me this week, we'll start with the trades. I got Colossus God's Country, which is just a compilation of other Colossus stories, old and new. And that's just because I love Colossus. DC released their Essential Graphic Novels 2016 list and compendium.
And I love that list really doesn't change year to year.
No,
I flipped through there while you were finding an SD card, and it's like the same ones with maybe one or two new ones.
there are a couple things I actually want to talk to you about
Okay.
for your initial reactions, which is why I didn't bring it up to you sooner. Single issues, I got Green Lantern, Edge of Oblivion, The Flash 48, Earth 2 Society 9, Batman Superman 29, James Bond #4, G.I. Joe vs. Cobra #8 Annual Convention, Deja Thoris #1, G.I. Joe Real American Hero issue 225, and Batman 49.
Okay. So before we start talking about what we read, I have a conundrum I want to bring up to you that your Colossus trade reminded me of.
Word.
So I've been, in addition to new comics coming out, I've been going back and reading X-Men from 1 forward.
Like the old
Like
original one.
1963
Yeah.
forward. Okay. So it goes 1 through 66, and then they did some reprints. So I'm at like 52 or 53 right now.
Okay.
So in this collection that I have, it also has the Professor X and the X-Men and the classic X-Men,
Oh, sure.
which are essentially just more reprints.
They really are.
Do I read those?
No, they're just reprints.
But with new art. Like the Professor X and the X-Men, new art. Like that's the conundrum I have. I'm like, do I want to be an absolute 100% completionist and read everything that was published?
Here's why I say no. Because you have 50 years
Right.
to read. Maybe don't start reading the reprints until you kind of get up to at least the first Phoenix Saga.
So here's
Have you even hit giant size yet? You haven't even hit
No.
giant size yet. Yeah, no, don't do the reprint.
I'm just at the point where they changed the classic block style X-Men title print. But here's my problem. So I have everything from very, very issue 1, volume 1, 1963, up through 2009.
Okay.
And it's all numbered in reading order.
Oh. Well, that's a different story.
So
now,
that's
isn't it?
so that's the problem. And it's split up into sections where it's like chunk 1, and it's issue 1 through like Professor X and the X-Men, whatever that stopped at, and it's numbered specifically.
That changes everything, doesn't it?
It does, because now I'm like, do I skip from number 75 or whatever
to 113
and then go back later?
Nope, don't be a maverick. Read them all now. I've changed my mind.
Right?
Yep.
But it seems like it seems hard because I'm like, it is the exact same story with like a different cover. So
these are the decisions that will plague your mind.
I know.
The worst part is when you're gonna get to it and you're like, they fucking retconned it again.
I know, right? That's what I should do. I should start making a list of every retcon.
Right?
I'll need like 5 more of these notebooks.
I got 3 lying around. So,
Anyways,
the DCessentra graphic novels 2015. For those of you who are interested, who read their comic books via trade paperback, I highly, highly, highly recommend you pick one of these up.
How much does something like that cost?
They're free.
I know. I was making sure that they knew that.
Oh, my apologies. And they're free!
Act now and we'll throw in a second one at half price.
You still have to pay $14.99 shipping and handling charges.
Yeah, I mean...
So,
anyways.
the strongest reason to get one of these is if you're interested in a particular hero, Superman, Batman. Let's start with the Batman section because it'll be the easiest one because it's in my hand here. It tells you the reading order. So if you go to the side here, it tells you the chronological order from Batman Year 1 and all the milestones chronologically to Endgame.
Okay, and now this is not release date order, but the order you should read the stories in.
The order that the stories actually take place, yes. And it's not just DCNU. It goes Batman Year 1, The Man Who Laughs, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Death in the Family, chronologically all the way down to Flashpoint, Year 0, Court of Owls, and Endgame. Like Batman Year 0 in publication form came out after, around the same time Batman Eternal.
Yes.
But in chronological, it takes place before.
Yep.
So this gives it to you all in chronological order. Then the next couple pages actually break down all those trades, what they are, and then emphasize even more on them, again, in reading order. I think that's super helpful.
Definitely.
Because if you're like Jay and I, you're like, I'm a completist. I want to know a lot of the Superman's history, not just now. Oh, here's an reading order of all the quintessential important things. Awesome. I'm in. The first 5 pages you can ignore. And those are the 25 essential graphic novels.
Oh.
I don't agree with this list.
Well, no. I mean...
some of them, sure. Watchmen, yeah, that's a quintessential.
No, just...
The Killing Joke, I agree.
I'm sorry. I think Watchmen's not anywhere near as good as it should be.
V for Vendetta, that's not one of the... I don't think it is.
No.
Nope. Fables, I think Fables is.
Fables was good.
All-Star Superman, nope. It's not, guys. Quietly's art is bad. Grant Morrison's writing, subpar. Preacher, Why the Last Man, arguable. Batman Hush, I'm so happy Batman Hush is on there.
Sorry, I disagree with your previous statement. I think Preacher and Why the Last Man are both very, very good books.
That's why I say, I apologize. I say arguable as in there's a case for pro and against on both sides of that fence. I agree with you, but if other people argue it, I can see both sides.
Okay.
Superman, The Death of Superman, although doesn't really hold up. Sure, it belongs on there. Day Tripper?
No.
Nope.
What the...
Superman, Batman, Volume 1. I love this story for personal reasons. It does not belong in the 25.
Is this the current Superman Batman?
No, it's not. It's the Ed McGuinness one.
Okay.
The Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness.
Yeah.
Superman, Red Sun.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
But the new Suicide Squad.
No, goddamn no.
So they're Batman Earth 1, absolutely not. Because that book was bad.
Yeah.
Injustice, Gods Among Us, Flash Volume 1, both of those don't. I love both these books. There are much better ones that should be on there.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to put a Flash that should be on here, Flashpoint.
Yeah.
How about, and the fact that you reference Flashpoint in all your timelines, but don't have Flashpoint as one of your top 25 trades is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or even Flash Rebirth. So ignore the 25 essentials, the chronological order and the reading order, and then here's the entire, if you're like, no, I want every single one, they...
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
okay.
The back, so from pages 104 and beyond is the hardcore. Each page has 50 trades listed for like, if you're like, no, I want to read every Batman trade paperback you have in print in chronological order. There they all are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And all this for free.
Again, act now. Our phone is blowing off the hook, folks. Do not delay. The other thing about it that I really loved was the intro page.
Okay.
It's Nightwing and Batman talking about it. In Batman, this is the most extensive chronological for each character in the series. All in this book catalog. And I love Nightwing, so it covers everything. Batman, yes. The Dark Knight Returns, yup. Nightwing with this smug look on his face. Final Crisis. So I actually think it's super useful if you're trying to get into, or if you just want to read more DC trades.
Okay, yeah.
So what book are you going to cover today?
I'm going to talk about Adventures of Supergirl.
Okay.
So this is the second issue. You haven't read these yet because they're digital firsts.
Right.
So I talked about this when issue 1 came out. It's based in the same universe as the TV show. So she's got her sister in it. And it's really, really interesting. So at the end of the first issue, the villain, Rampage, shot down the DEO helicopter that Supergirl's sister was in.
Okay.
So it opens up with Supergirl trying to catch the helicopter, which we've seen Superman do tons. And we saw Supergirl do with the airplane in the premiere episode of the show. But what she talks about, which is really interesting, is that you can't just fly up and grab a plane or a helicopter and expect everything to be okay. There's a lot of science and physics behind actually doing it. So she's talking about like airspeed velocity and like force and things like this. And she's like, if I just put my hands up to it, it's going to shatter the entire thing and everybody's going to fall out and die. And so it goes into a lot of like, it's not just all about muscle. Like, yeah, sure I'm super strong, but I have to be careful too.
I like that.
So I thought that was really interesting, a really interesting way to play that. And even later in the book, she's talking about her sister and her are hunting through the sewers trying to find Rampage. And Rampage pops out and knocks her sister over the walkway or whatever. So her sister's falling. And she's like, if I just like fly down there and catch her, it only takes X amount of pressure to break the human neck. So when I catch her, I have to be careful to catch her while matching her speed so as not to actually kill her while I catch her. Which reminds me of Gwen Stacy.
I was about that as you're saying that,
yeah.
The Gwen Stacy thing. Go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, it goes into that. Like in Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy, who's, and I didn't even realize this because I didn't follow a lot of Spider-Man back in the day, was supposedly his first major girlfriend.
Yes.
Gets knocked off the Brooklyn Bridge, or the George Washington Bridge.
By the Green Goblin.
Yeah. And he shoots a web out to catch her, and in catching her, inertia keeps her body going while the web's pulling back, and it snaps her neck and she dies.
Correct.
So it's really interesting to see another comic address something like that. That's not something you see in every comic. So it really gives you an insight into how much pressure these heroes are under. So I thought that was really cool.
I do like that. And the reason I partially like that is because everyone says the same thing about Superman. Well, he's super strong. What's the big deal? Well, now think about things like that. Whereas, yeah, if he just goes to grab a plane, he can't just grab a plane. His hand will go through it.
Yep.
You do need to take all these things into effect, the speed, the momentum, everything else. So it does add another layer to the Kryptonian lore. So I really do dig that.
So, but yeah, this issue is essentially just Supergirl and Alex, her sister, trying to track down Rampage. And you find out that one of Alex's first assignments as part of the DEO was to track down Rampage and her sister, Rampage's sister, and that Rampage's sister actually died in the course of that.
Oh.
So now Rampage is out to kill Alex. And then once she realizes that Supergirl is Alex's sister, she's like, well, I don't care who
Sister
I kill.
for sister.
I'll kill your sister. You killed my sister. So
that's just biblical. It's
Yeah,
an eye for
yeah,
an
yeah,
eye.
yeah,
On this
absolutely.
one, you got to side with Rampage.
yeah. So, but that was pretty much it. Since this comic is formatted for a digital style, you get a lot less panels. It's mainly meant for panels to fill a screen and things like that. So not a lot of story to it, but I think they did get a lot of detail into the story for the limited space they had.
Awesome. Good. I'm looking forward to that when it comes out in print form.
Cool.
That's it for me this week.
That's it for me.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.